Hey, I'm Kristen Brooks, and I am a EdTech consultant from Atlanta, Georgia.
ATL in the house.
Whoop, whoop.
That's right. So welcome back to the show, Kristen. This is like maybe fourth or fifth time on the show, maybe.
I just really like being on your podcast.
Yeah, there we go. And this is quite possibly the most comfortable podcast you've ever been on, right?
It is absolutely the most comfortable podcast I've ever been on, and I want them all to be like this. This is the new standard.
I mean, it's like when you go first class, like you're
You
not
can't
sitting
go back.
back with the goats and chickens anymore after that. No way.
This is the first class podcast.
Yeah. Oh, I don't have gunshots on my little soundboard. Otherwise, it would have been shots fired. All right. Sounds good. So, Kristen, you are recently retired.
I am, after 30 years
Holy cow.
in education.
30 years.
I know.
First and foremost, congratulations.
Thank you so much, sir.
So what's the retirement been like? Because you've only been retired. When did you retire?
In December.
I thought it was January. Okay. So you are fairly recently retired. What have these 6 months been like?
You know, I wasn't really sure what to expect.
Okay.
How do you know what to expect? Like, you
don't know what you don't know.
Right, exactly. I say that a lot. In my 30 years, I would say that to the students all the time. You don't know what you don't know.
Yes.
So I didn't really know what to expect exactly. It did take me a little bit of time to get used to not being on the school schedule.
Not having to be somewhere.
Yes, because I kept relating to the school schedule. Like, I would look at a clock and be like, I'm supposed to be having second period right now, teaching small children technology.
Did you, like in the month of January?
Yes.
Did you use the restroom like at 10:15 every day? And then when it rained outside, were you like, oh man, I gotta wolf my lunch down because it's rainy day schedule kind of thing? Were you still stuck in that schedule?
Absolutely. I did those things. Yes. It took a while to get me out of those habits.
Okay.
But the easiest one to get out of was setting the alarm.
That was. Did you guys like have a moment where you said, I'm officially record this or document this? I'm officially shutting the alarm off?
Oh, day one.
Did you document it? Did you do some big old thing?
I did not document it. I mean, to myself, I was like, delete all the alarms. Because
the attendance alarm, all that stuff?
I'm not an easy riser. And so I would set multiple alarms.
Got it.
So I deleted all of them.
Oh, you're one of them.
I am one of those.
You are one of them.
I'm
okay.
a night person, so getting up early, I like to get up early. It's just not natural for me.
It's nice to get up early, but,
yes.
but easier said than done.
Correct.
Okay. Now,
yes.
When I reached out to you for this, you mentioned creating AI experiences, right? Mm-hmm. Something along those lines.
Yes.
That's a lot to unpack.
Yeah.
Talk to us about what that means. Like when you mention, hey, I'd love to talk to folks about creating relevant AI experiences. What does that mean?
To me, it means not just, I love the phrase create more than you consume. And so I kind of wanted to kind of mirror that with AI to create more than you consume, meaning I would love to support educators in creating AI experiences instead of just AI-driven content.
Okay. All right. Now, when you say like creating AI experiences, are you talking about the teacher modeling, showing AI to students, or are you talking like students hands-on working?
Both.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. What does that look like in a classroom? Like, for example, if you're my mentor teacher and you and I we're going through a coaching cycle.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
And my goal is to create these experiences for students. You and I collaborating, what does that look like for us with the end product in mind?
To me, that is what I tried to emulate in my tech lab. And so I really tried hard to find items that students could create using AI if they preferred to. They didn't necessarily have to.
Okay.
Because there were some students that were like, I don't really want to use, do I have to? And I was like, you never have to, no. If you would like to, it's an option.
Yeah. If
you don't prefer to, you can just bring in your own graphic or, things like that. So giving them the opportunity to use AI and to use it to create versus use it to make a worksheet.
Okay.
Like create some sort of document or graphic example or a video or...
Okay. All right. Is there a particular project that you could think of or an activity that you've done or that you could talk about that incorporates just
absolutely.
that? Talk to us.
Yes, we used Adobe Express, and it is actually a template inside of Adobe Express, and I can give you the links if you want to link it up to the podcast. So
Let's
people,
do it.
Could definitely go in and experience it. But it was one where they were creating by using their words to describe somebody from history, and then having AI to help them create that visual. So they really have to think hard, like what words do I need to use as a fifth grader to describe, somebody like Rosa Parks or, Abraham Lincoln. What do I need, what words and what order do I put them in to describe to get the AI to help me create this graphic or this picture? And then they used words to describe that person from history that kind of overlaid over top of the picture.
Okay.
And it was really impactful. And I felt like I was actually moved by some of the items that my students created. Like they were really
moved in a positive way,
yes,
or moved as in get out of my class?
No,
right
moved like heartwarming. Like they really worked hard to try.
Okay.
Some of these folks, they've seen pictures of these people from history, and they were able to select. They could pick anyone in fifth grade that they had learned about. We did it at the end of the year kind of thing, and they could pick anyone that they had learned about that year. And then used AI to help them create the visual for the person. And then they overlaid words on top of it. So it's kind of like you see half their face and the other half has the words.
Oh, okay. All right.
Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. Now I'm going to take a wild just shot in the dark.
Sure.
Adobe Express?
It is, yes.
Okay.
Oh, I thought I said that. Did I not say it?
You
Sorry.
did. But
yes,
when you
Adobe
said half
Express.
the face and words,
yes,
Claudio.
Yes.
Claudio.
Yeah. I think it was one that he has shown.
Yeah.
But I believe that I added the historical part to it.
Makes sense.
Yeah. And I did it because I like my students to be able to choose what they want to create about. So I said, any of the folks you've learned about this year. And the interesting part is that even fifth graders, I say to them, I'm not with you in your history class. So you're going to have to think back to what you've learned. Use some of your skills. Some of them were like, we made these digital items. Can I go online and pull up some of my content? Absolutely.
There you go.
So I love that because they're really, using what they have used or what they have documented for themselves that year.
Okay.
Because I feel like, why do we have them make these things if they never go back and use them?
Yeah, right. And then it just becomes something in their drive or something that they have to then, shovel for and look for. So, yeah. And
then we also had created in Adobe Express a portfolio. And again, I try to leave it open-ended in the fact that they could add at any time something that they're proud of into their portfolio. Many of them added this document, this piece as part of their portfolio.
Okay. All right. That's something that I like. As you're talking about it, I could see it. But I'd love to experience it with students. I'd love to be like a fly on the wall when this happens and just see and hear the ahas and the engagement and a lot of times, correct me if I'm wrong, but your disengaged students, I could see them hyper-focusing on this.
Absolutely. Yes, they love it. They love just that creative experience and being able to just make it their own. And some of them might finish quickly, but many of them, they'll go back, for a few classes and kind of do a little tweak here, just like we do.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So, I love that. I love that they get to figure out how they want to create.
Okay. Before I go on to the next question.
Yes.
Kristen, you're on the show, right?
I do know.
You're in San
There's
Antonio.
A snack.
You're kind of in my neck of the woods.
Yay.
And we have pan dulce, which translates to Mexican sweetbread.
Nice.
So, and they're completely low fat. If you don't eat it, it's completely low fat, no calories, no sugar.
Oh no, I have to eat one of these.
Feel free to grab one. We have chocolate, we have vanilla, and then those little pigs.
Yeah.
They are like molasses bread, and I know your mouth just watered.
Is this the chocolate right here?
These are the chocolate.
This is chocolate.
Yeah.
Okay. So do I pick it's big.
You get, but they're not dense. They're airy.
They're
very
airy.
Yeah.
It's lighter than I thought.
Yeah, and.
But we have to
You're
break
going to be
bread
covered
together.
in dust. You're going to be, you know what? Yeah, we are breaking bread together. I'm going to grab one of these.
See, I know the rules of the show.
There we go. I'm going to grab one of these.
Okay.
These are my favorite here. You mind helping me close it on the other
We
side?
have to toast.
There we go. All right.
Cheers.
All right, let's do this thing. Oh my gosh. I haven't had one of these in months.
I'm going to be covered in it, but
I haven't had one of these in hours. No, I'm just kidding.
the things I do for my friends.
Oh, you double fist. You.
I broke it in half.
All right, sounds good. All we need is coffee, right? Dip it in some coffee right now. Yeah.
I feel bad because I'm getting sugar and cinnamon all over the furniture.
It's all good. It's all good. All right.
All right.
Teacher, maybe new to AI, maybe kind of hesitant. I'm not sure if I'm ready to go down that route.
I agree. I understand.
What is maybe one or two quick tips you can give them or pieces of advice where they can ultimately go down that path?
Yeah. I feel like I understand. Like, this is what I used to say in my district when I was a coach. I would say when people would ask me questions or ask for help
just
or
let
assistance.
her fall.
There you go. They're going to lean on each
She had
other.
a piece of bread and she's ready to.
No, they're going to lean on each other.
There we go.
That's what friends do. They hold each other up. Deep thoughts with Gabe and Kristen.
Oh my gosh. I think I have a sound effect. Oh, no, not that one.
Oh,
Deep thoughts. There we go.
thoughts.
All right.
But I would always say to them, anyone who is asking for support or question, I would say, I understand, and I have two answers. I have the right side of my brain, which is my teacher answer, and I have the left side of my brain, which is probably my district answer. And I feel like both answers are correct, and both answers, they might be different from each other, but I also can explain why for either one.
Give us one of the answers.
I can see both sides of that coin.
Go for it.
And so I would say if you're nervous about AI, I would think about using it in a creative aspect in your classroom instead of necessarily having it, rewrite
Create
a
worksheet.
document. Using it for making a graphic or helping to just increase your idea thought processes.
Okay.
Or using it, maybe for poem writing or something that is just very small. Just dip your toe in and just give it a test and just, try it out. And if it's not for you, you don't have to continue to use it. But I will say, if not you, then who? And if that child is with you for the whole year,
Kristen.
So I just feel like for me, there have been things in my 30-year career that maybe I thought, I just don't know if I can do that. But then I would think when I'm trying to go to sleep at night, but if I don't do it,
Racing thoughts.
Who's going to do it? If I have this child for an entire year, I don't want him to miss out on something because I'm scared or I'm nervous.
If not you, then who?
Yeah. And so I would just say, just try something small. And maybe even ask your students, hey friends, I don't feel super comfortable with AI, but let's maybe find a way that we can work on it together and figure this out. I know that a lot of people don't realize that in Class Dojo, that there is AI inside of there.
And this episode is sponsored by Class Dojo, so a big shout out to Class Dojo.
Yay!
That's right. I just had Chad on before.
Yeah.
Okay, so keep going. I'm sorry.
But true. I'm actually doing a session tomorrow in their booth, and it is all about their AI that is embedded, and it's called Sidekick. And, it is
Sidekick
to help educators. And I really encourage everyone to at least just go look at it and realize that it's there. Because again, I am one of those educators where I feel like one or two tools that you use in a more broad spectrum instead of every tool out there could really be helpful in a classroom.
Yeah, sometimes
And
it's overwhelming.
Yes.
Like the amount of tools, the amount of different large language models, and everybody's got AI built into it. But yeah,
right. And
absolutely.
the sign in and the sign out.
Oh,
And you think,
yeah.
okay, if you're an adult and that kind of stresses you out, think of these young children, especially
Yeah.
like for me, I specialize a little bit in elementary.
The littles.
And you know, I'm thinking if you're nervous about signing in and signing out, they are too, or how to get in the process.
Yeah.
And therefore, if we can use these tools and use everything about them, it's really a lot more simple. And you have, multi-uses for something.
Yeah.
So like Dojo, a lot of our teachers at our school, we would have it up on our laptop all day long. And
You messed around and broke my
I
equipment
know,
already.
sorry, I get so excited with my hands. But, I would have it up. And then I'm one of those people where I'm like, click the button, see what it does.
You can't break it.
Right, check everything out.
Yeah.
And I would say that to my students. Well, I was in Dojo and I was like clicking around and I was like, well, what is this? I didn't even know this was here. It's AI. It's built in. It's right here. So when I want to make a classroom, message or post, I can just type it in right here,
Okay.
and it will help me come up with, a few different variations of that. So I'm not saying the same thing every Monday when I send my message,
Yeah.
So I just say use it that way and see what you think. And usually it's not as scary as you think it's going to be.
Yeah, I'm going to go back to that statement that you said a little bit earlier when you said if you're not comfortable, maybe you can open it up to your students and say, hey, guys, I'm not comfortable. I've never done this before. Can we work this out together kind of thing? To me, that is by definition creating an experience.
Absolutely.
Because your students will probably never forget, hey, remember that time Mrs. Brooks asked us to help her out with AI use in the classroom?
Yes, I did that with Minecraft. I was asked by my district to...
You changed it from Minecraft to our craft.
I basically did, because
Sorry.
this was several years ago, but I was asked by my district to do a little, what is it called when you're like the first one? A pilot.
Pilot, yeah.
A pilot of Minecraft in elementary.
Okay.
And I was like, okay, I'm in. I don't Minecraft. I actually, before that day, I was like, never signed into that.
Okay.
And this was, 7 years ago, 8 years ago.
Yeah.
And I said, but I'm not scared. I will do it, because nowhere in my contract does it say I have to be the smartest person in the room. And I'm open to the students and I figuring it out together.
Got it.
And that's basically
Facilitating.
Yes, I was the facilitator of learning.
Got it.
And I said that on day one with my students. I said, hey, friends, we're going to use Minecraft. We're going to make things in it. I tried to sit down and teach it to myself. I was not super successful, but I'm not going to let that stop us, because if not me, then who?
If not you, then who?
Yep. So I was like, we're just going to figure this out together. And we had the best time.
Oh
and
my
I will
gosh.
say confidently 100%, no student, I never felt like they thought ill of me or less of me because I said, I don't know how to craft and I want us all to do it together. They were like, yeah.
Oh
and I
my
said, you guys,
gosh.
if this is something you do in your spare time, I want you to help direct and lead and figure out, what are the steps we need to take. And pretty much every day that we were doing this, they would just get up and do like little mini presentations to the whole class. I'm like, you're the teacher for 5 minutes.
There
What do
go.
you have?
Yeah, show
Yes.
off your skills that no other teacher probably would have given him the opportunity to do.
Thank you.
Kristen Brooks.
And and it was wonderful because they taught me all kinds of things. And I felt like you said, I feel like it is an experience they will never forget.
Never.
And a yes and to that was that it made me understand that not everyone is going to excel in sports and in piano or art. And maybe that is their chance to shine. When I'm like,
Yep.
hey, let's make it our craft and do it all together.
Feel free to use that from
I
now
will,
on.
thank you. And, we'll just figure it out. And I had truly shining stars getting up there, and that was their moment in the playoffs or, the whatever of sports for young children, because I don't have any children, so I don't know what that's called.
Got it.
But, the playoffs, the swim team,
Yeah, the track meet,
Yes,
the band, everything, yeah.
that was their moment of shining, and so much. It was so impactful that once I was still doing that with my classes, I felt so engaged to make a Minecraft after school club.
Oh.
Because I really wanted them to have a more extensive time of just crafters in the room, figuring it out together, and Minecraft student ambassadors.
That is pretty cool.
Yeah.
That is pretty cool. Is this your first time in San Antonio?
It is not.
Okay.
I was at ISTE the last time it was here.
2017, I want to say. Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Favorite meal thus far?
Since I've been here?
Yes.
I had the most delicious steak last night.
Okay, from where? Do you recall?
I knew you were going to ask me that. I do not recall. I'm sorry. I have no idea.
Do you recall the cut? Was it a ribeye? Was it a sirloin?
It was very lean.
Very lean. Okay, could have been a New York strip. I like a good New York strip.
I'm sorry. I don't know.
It was steak.
It was a very loud restaurant, and I do know that it was down by the river.
Okay.
I do know that, but I know that doesn't help because there's a lot of good restaurants.
There's a whole lot, yeah.
And it was in a hotel in the bottom of the hotel.
All right. That narrows it down. That narrows it down. Okay. All right. Now, I have to do this.
Okay.
I'm going to say one part and you're going to say the next, okay? You
All
probably
right.
don't know what I'm talking about, but you'll know as soon as it comes out of my mouth.
It's a game.
Welcome to Atlanta, where the players play.
Something every day.
And we ride on them things like every day. Yes. I remember I posted that.
Love that song. And I'm
I
like,
know you
I know
do.
this. I know
Yes,
this.
I remember after the GA ETC conference where we chatted last. I think my story or my reel had that song in the background, and you specifically were like, "That's my favorite song. That was supposed to be my real music that I put on mine." Yes, okay.
I do love that song, but I am not a lyrics queen. I wish that I could be. Like, I knew the song as soon as you started saying it.
And I saw you were like going through like.
I was like trying like so hard to pull it out.
I'll give you the points anyway. That
Okay,
sounds great.
you.
So how can people connect with you to learn more and maybe reach out to you, pick your brain a little bit on creating these memorable AI experiences?
Yes, I love connecting with other educators. And it really is, please reach out. I really do say that meaningfully. I know that when I was new to EdTech 20-something years ago, I would reach out to people that I met at conferences on Twitter and on the socials. And so many kind people that I really did not know were so helpful and would, help me and answer my questions. So I absolutely will help other people and hopefully can answer their questions. Because sometimes somebody on social media will answer faster than your
email,
than your EdTech people in your district.
Exactly, yeah.
I get that. So yes, you can get me on all the socials at Kristen Brooks 77 and also KristenBrooks.com.
KristenBrooks.com. Sounds good. All that information is going to be in the show notes. That way, if you're walking, jogging, maybe you're on the treadmill, maybe you're cooking up a meal, maybe you're driving in the car, and maybe on the Bluetooth speaker next to you because your radio doesn't work, you're listening to Welcome to Atlanta, where the players play, and we ride on them things like every day. That's right. So all that information is going to be in the show notes. Don't worry about pulling over or you're trying to write this down. Open up your note-keeping app. You can always just click on the show notes, connect with Kristen, reach out to her, and find out how to cook up those memorable AI experiences in the classroom.
Yes.
From the bottom of my heart, I'd like to thank you for everything that you do, everything you continue to contribute, regardless of retirement or not, to our educational space, and just for being you and spreading that message and love forward. Thank you.
Thank you. I want to thank you right back for having me on the show. It is always truly a joy in my heart.
Say it again. Most comfortable podcast, right?
It is by far the most. I could sit here all afternoon and just keep talking to you because we're like watching people walk by at cool ISTE conference.
That's right.
And we're super comfortable. Like,
it's going to be real hard to get up out of the seat.
It is, because this is the first time I think I've sat down almost all day.
There we go. You're welcome.
Yes, thank you for having me. I love chatting with you.
Likewise. Thank you. Enjoy the rest of your conference, and we'll talk soon.
Thank you.